Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours. Got lots of love, love. 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 Got lots of love, love.
back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just going to solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Edu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Ambler immediately goes back to fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for another fantastic afternoon here at CGL. And while we have many different divisions, many different mid-season tournaments going on, one of them will be decided right here today. It is North America Platinum Division. We got Drop the Guns and HMS Sabre going at it in this one. And Headrammer, pleasure joining you here. It's been a while since I've been on the mic with you specifically, but you know what? It's always a pleasure. And hey, we get to do a grand final, so it's a good a day as any.
I know, it is a good day for a game. I mean, rarely do we see, you know, an NA game here kind of at the midday times. Usually we're looking at towards the evening here, but we have a little bit of a matchup between NA and versus EU. And, I mean, it's a grand finals, it's NA versus EU. I mean, how could you get much better a matchup?
It's hard to, in a situation like this, to kind of have that variety as well, because sometimes it is like, hey, we're just watching, you know, 10 people from North America, 10 people from EMEA. To have a mix like this, it is essentially a clashing of styles in a lot of different ways, because when you go through different regions, whether it is North America, EMEA, China, South America, all of them have their own different particular styles that they'll kind of lean towards, and when they clash, it can be a little unique, and it's only at big lands we really get to see situations like that, so this is going to be a nice, even mix for this matchup here today.
Yeah, do you feel like a little bit your national pride rising up? You got like break out the shirt that's like the European Union flag under there.
I'm gonna rip this open. It's just be the U.S. flag sitting under there. I gotta do the Bren thing one of these times where I just rip the shirt
that'd be
off.
amazing.
It'd be so great. And I rip it
US
off.
flag, I have the
bring
European
it
Union,
back.
it just shows up. We're one for each side.
100%. But regardless, we gotta figure out where we're gonna be starting out this lovely series here today to find out our Platinum Division champions, and it's gonna be starting all the way at Busan. Course control always getting us started. First to 3 for these grand finals, as will be the case for all the grand finals here in the mid-season tournaments. And Busan Headrammer is one of those particular maps of control where all the sub-maps seem to play a little bit differently. You can play pretty much anything on them, but if you go to Mecha Base, you're going to go towards that brawl style with like the Orisa. But if you go towards something more like Downtown, this is where things like the Wrecking Ball, the Diva, Winston, Hazard are going to open up as well.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of that Wrecking Ball, you know, Wu Ying, Lucy time composition from Drop the Guns. I mean, I think they have enjoyed playing a little bit of that format throughout the season so far. I mean, we've talked to Ray himself, who plays on that team, and he likes to hype up his team as you do, and they're very confident in kind of playing that style. And it is kind of what we're seeing as the meta right now. So if you're good at the meta, that can be a good thing. But also at the same time, it is the Plat tier. So this is a tier where meta is important, but also you're not really forced to play it the entire time.
Yeah, we've kind of entered a zone within the past year, and a large part of that is because of us unlocking bans, is that there isn't like a ever set in place meta. There is a lot more flexibility than there was before. Back in the days, it's, hey, are you not playing these specific 5 or 6 characters? You're not? Sucks to be you. You're losing this game. That is just how we operated as a game for a long time. Luckily, we're not in this area of that where it's like, oh, they're on Diva instead of Winston. Why are they doing that? It's like, no, that's a legitimate call. The tank is being able to play this character more effectively, they can ban around it to either get rid of the diva or something that can be like very piercing for the Winston. So there's a lot of playability, a lot of ways to kind of work around within these situations. So that's what we're going to see from both these teams today. And it's going to be a situation, I'll always say this, where it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be really quick or it's going to be really long. And a lot of that is going to come down to these hero bans.
It is, especially like when you hit the... Heroes are interesting too, because it's one of those situations where, you know, you're not throwing them all up front. You get a chance to do it like map by map, so you have the kind of the chance to react a little bit to how the series is going, or you have to strategically decide whether you want to save like this all-important ban until later in the series. Like, you know, you want to be able to hit that. Say you hit the map 5, and you're like, aha, we can finally throw out like our game-ending ban that guarantees us a map win. But also, do you even want to let it get to that point? Some teams are like, okay, we have to get this out of the way early. That way, we can go in that position of being in the lead for the series.
Yeah, and it feels like a risk no matter how you go about it. Some teams will say, hey, we want to try to get the momentum out of the way map 1, get it on our side, and try to run away with it from there. And if it doesn't go in your favor, then obviously that gamble's gone, that pick is gone, and it's a really rough road from there. But then to be fair, do you want to wait for a map 4 or a map 5? And like you said, let it get to that position. And when you're at that point, it can be really tough, and sometimes it comes down to the way the map picks work, because it's a situation where you might eventually go down a map where it's like, hey, I know this is more effective for the ball. Are they going to try to play it on this map instead, though? It's a gamble you kind of have to take, and eventually you need to personally come to the decision of, do we think they're going to try to go for it right here and now, or do we save it for a map where maybe we're not quite expecting it, where we can be caught off guard, and once you're caught off guard on something like a ball, it can be a little difficult to adjust.
It could be one of those situations too. It's like, you know, you have a team that likes to play a particular style that maybe you struggle against, and it's like ends up being like, you know, it's like I know that you know that we know that that you want to do this here, but like if I do this, I mean, compared to WCS, also it's also a little bit different just by the nature of like, you know, we allow changing a roster after bans. Whereas WCS is like you kind of have to play a little bit more of that chess match of like when you sub a player in or not, with the assumption that, you know, when you sub in a player, a lot of times they know the style you want to go towards. They know, it kind of reveals a little bit more of your hand in that aspect.
I mean, essentially, yeah. And we'll have to see how these teams are able to adjust, because luckily for us, we got to see them not too long ago. In fact, only a week ago, we got to see these teams go up against each other, and it was Drop the Guns who ended up winning it in 3-0 fashion. So the fact these teams have played each other so recently without there being a major patch, I think even without there even being a minor patch for that matter, means these teams know what to expect from each other, and that might play more to the hands of HMS more than anybody else, simply because, hey, we know what we are expecting to run into, we know what was difficult for us to deal with, and we can ban around that aspect. We can pick certain maps around the aspect of, well, because you kind of have to come into a decision with there being only like a 7-day difference between your matches. You have to come into an understanding, okay, maybe we just definitively aren't better at them than this. Let's go all in on this thing right here that we know we are good at, that we can persevere at, and we can rotate our bans and picks around that.
Yeah, I think in week 4 they played the other HMS team. There's 2 HMS teams that are in the same tier. It ended up being HMS Cutlass, which was the 3-0, and for Drop the Guns in this case. These 2 teams are actually essentially the top 2 teams of the group, and they have not faced each other yet. They play each other in week 5 upcoming. So we're actually going to get a repeat next week for these teams. So like, whatever happens in this grand finals, we get an immediate U-turn when it hits the next week. So we get a chance to see, ooh, do they actually, is it like something a performance whatever team wins can repeat?
Yeah, 100%, obviously. I'll stand by my case. Still, remember, codes are always visible on the CGL website, so you can always go and check out what your opponent has ran previously, and you can learn from that. But we'll see what the case is going to be here. Drop the Guns, get the first ban to get the series started. And Headrummer, the way this normally plays around, from everything I've seen, is teams will typically gravitate towards more some of the safer picks. Like, hey, we know these characters get played a lot. We particularly don't want to deal with them on that map. It's been things like the Hazard, like the Wu Young, like the Freya, the Tracer and Sojourn even at times, where it's like, hey, we just don't want to deal with this. We know there's a strong DPS or whoever on that team that could just pretty much carry a whole map if we give them the chance.
I could even see a situation of a Protect ban, to protect maybe running the Wrecking Ball, if it's something their team's really strong at and wants to do with a Winston ban. This might be the Protect ban of Wrecking Ball.
can't believe this. I'm leaving this broadcast right now. A Winston ban to
Winston
get this grand
down.
final started. I can't believe this. I have to put the check mark over my Winston. But importantly enough, gotta see what HMS Sabre are going to ban out. Damage or support, gonna be the name of the game. And Winston not being in effect, it's kind of interesting because we've also seen a lot of Zarya as of late, and Zarya could get a lot of effectiveness on this map. And maybe it's a thing of HM Sabres maybe realizing, hey, maybe they're going to try to go down the route of the Zarya. Maybe we get rid of something like the Reaper or the Venture, 2 DPS, which have been heavily paired up with that Zarya as of late.
Yeah, I could also see a situation where they might go the direction of, say, trying to either ban Wu Yang or Lucio as well. Again, I'm already under the flow of like them wanting to run more of the ball waste comp, and the Lucio and Wu Yang in that comp can be pretty strong to help enable that full kind of engagement with each other. But it's Tracer ban. Okay, so they do not want the Tracer to dive in their backline. They want their backline safe.
Yeah, this is a couple of interesting bans, with it being Busan. These are 2 characters that you'd probably see come out on this map and not really question it a second time. For me, this still kind of plays around the fact that we might see the Zarya from these squads, but the fact that the range that we are at, the hero pool is more open than it could ever be in any other division, and that's kind of the bright side of what we get to see in a situation like this, where we're likely going to see them 9 times out of 10 on what is their more comfortable characters, and they get their comps together based upon that. So I'm curious to see what the case is going to be, because at the end of the day, Headrammer, I think we're going to find out extremely quickly what both these teams kind of gravitate towards in terms of style.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have the lineup right here from Drop the Guns. Fear itself on the DPS, a Discord Kitten, FBGM, 2 Tryhard Ray, and Jaden on the Wu Yang. And I mean, this team has been pretty dominant so far throughout the entire season. They haven't lost a series yet, and I mean, I guess the question will be, is it even going to happen today?
I mean, hey, there's a pretty grand possibility it could be the case because their opponent are rearing ready to go here. HMS Sabre, who've had a little success in their own right, but managed to get through a pretty tough game to be able to make it here. Got Zhao and Hiccup on the DPS, Roko on take, and Scram, or Scram. And then Rokuro over on the support category, which obviously you see the good old Life Weaver there, which, to be fair, still getting occasional playtime. Venture has been getting more playtime as well. Like I said, paired up with that Zarya. So we'll see what the situation is going to be. Because I genuinely think most of what we're seeing might not be a troll. The Hanzo's got a lot of playtime. Reaper a lot of playtime. Wu Yong. These are a lot of these control picks that are, you know, in a very strong place in the game right now.
Yeah, if I'm HMS Sabre right now, I feel like a goal for this team should be to kind of start off strong and maybe take a map early. Right now, Drop the Guns has not dropped a map at all this entire season so far, and I mean, it could be a mental game. Like, a lot of Overwatch is a mental game. If you can take a map early in a series and make the team, like, I guess, bleed, for lack of a better term, that could set you up pretty good from your own confidence, and is also reducing the confidence of the other team.
Yeah, 100% could, but we'll see what the case is going to be as we're going to be ready to get into our first map here at Busan. Of course, the sub points always random. You never know what you're going to get. Maybe we start super heavy on the Brawl, you know, heading over to our good old friends at Mecha Base. Maybe we play a little more out in the open when it comes to a sub map like Sanctuary. But as I'm appearing on my screen right now, as I wanted to save it for the grand reveal, it's going to be neither of those, as we're going to be heading over to downtown, where dive typically is king, but in the meta that we live in, Yield 2025, that Zarya can make an appearance on any map, and it would not be a surprise.
No, it would not. It's kind of been a little bit of cat and mouse game recently with those Zarya picks. You know, you see people come out on the Zarya, and then it's naturally like, well, what if we put Bastion into it? You see a lot of Bastion and Sim play into Zarya to force Zarya off. Actually, it looks like we do have Zarya being teased right now.
Yeah, seems to be the case. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Roko is currently over on that Roadhog, which Roadhog has been getting an occasional playtime. I've seen it a couple of times. You'll see it a lot if you go watch any Dirt Gaming team out there. But situation that we're in, that is not the case. But Drop the Guns is being very traditional with what the style is now. HMS Sabre, though, being a little more unique about it.
They are looking to run a little bit of the Roadhog composition, which actually, if your Roadhog can hit their hooks, and it can actually be very, very strong into the Zarya.
It definitely can be, but Discord Kitten, see them hanging out over on the Venture now after getting everybody out with the TP on Symmetra. So you're hoping for a, lucky hook like that, Roko. Getting things started brilliantly, and that's what FBGM is going to have to worry about throughout the entirety of this series is, hey, not the place you want to be, Ray. Unfortunate situation as Roko doing some great things, and FBGM is going to have to be very careful about how they use these bubbles.
Absolutely true. I mean, this is exactly what can make the Roadhog composition so deadly. Is if you have a Roadhog who's able to hit their hooks, hit the one shot, it's dangerous.
Could be very dangerous. Point still getting contested a little bit here, but it's just Zhao hanging around. It's only a matter of time. Jaden doing a fun thing. We get 1, 2. Ray gets that next one. And all things considered, I mean, Sabre felt like they had that in the palm of their hands, but no. Drop the guns, bring it back.
They really did. I thought that fight was completely over with. I thought it was done, dusted, and just then I look back. Jaden kills 2, another one kills 2, and Ray came back really fast to combo with their support line to make sure that fight was not over.
Yep, and now got to grab right around the corner. Same thing with the whole up, but importantly, Jaden is going to have this tidal wave ready before anything else, which means you could go in aggressive. The question is who you send, and the answer is either Roko or Hiccup, realistically. But Ray gets assassinated from the top rope instead. Zhao hanging up on that top right high ground, going to be pushing them away. Same situation that we were in before with them taking an early fight lead, but I think with FMGM gone, yeah, we will eventually see the flip through. Jaden does get an exit frag, will try to escape with his life intact. Looks like they will indeed be able to, as 46% going to be online.
Yeah, a really quick 2 picks from HMS Sabre in these fights, and it seems like they're really getting just a better thing at the start of the fights, but Drop the Guns keeps putting them in the situations where it's only been 2 fights, but I've already been kind of believing they could turn around after the support line did before.
100% here, bro. Getting the next fight, grab. He's massive. Beat, though, has been activated. Whole hog, push everybody away. And now Jaden just waiting for the opportunity, still holding on to that tidal wave. Ray gonna get that beat off without a hitch as well to kind of help them sustain a little while longer. Now it's Hiccup and Zhao. DPS Ultimates double online here. They're gonna do a soft little regroup, but the regroup is no longer in question. 35% on the board. Jaden running through the hills with the rest of their squad to clear out as many as they can, as Roko will be the single living member.
Yeah, a bit of an expensive fight there from HMS Sabre. They got grabbed, ended up popping, Roadhog Olive, which is, kind of a little inconsequential, and both Beat and Kiri rush at the exact same time. It made me wonder if they really wanted to stack them like that, and no, Hiccup going down early.
Yeah, not the way you want to get this one started, and now you are worried about Final Fight territory. I mean, you kind of already were, but here we go, Death Blossom! Cleanse comes through to keep them alive momentarily, but they're throwing everything in to try to clear this away right here and now and play close. And they get a good clear, and that's awesome, but Sabre still has a good amount of time to set for one more touch.
They do have one more touch available to themselves, and they have all advantage this time, but Discord can make it difficult for them. They can sit back and kind of fire on them. Okay, down by fear itself. This is, oh my gosh, it's right back and forth.
Yeah, but now here we go, looking for the big boop. Doesn't quite get it, but it might be enough. Discord Kitten's gotten rid of one. Roko and Okoro, perhaps not long for this road, are doing a great job of getting touch after touch, but it's not going to matter unless they find at least one pick. Great bubble there at the end. Jaden, she's barely able to survive. Zhao goes in to try to find something. Will not even get a pick off of it, and it doesn't quite matter. So 135, pretty dominant to get things started here. Had kind of one iffy fight, but they've been really clutch to get this started.
Yeah, they have been. We've been seeing that fight from HMS Sabre. They're getting these picks. They're doing well in these fights, but Drop the Guns, each time they're down, you can see they have that push-pull mechanism for them. They want to go early like this in this Reaper player itself. They're not letting them breathe right now.
They just straight up aren't, and everyone did everything. Everyone did their job as they needed to. You kind of look at the stat line. Jaden, she never went down.
Jaden, no deaths.
Massive in that situation. Got out a great amount of healing. Highest in the, well, not the second highest in the lobby, because Roko actually had the most heals on the Roadhog.
We do have both teams coming out. A little bit of a minor change right now from HMS Sabre. They're now running the Juno instead of Kiri, as well as an Ashe. They don't have a little bit more long-range pressure.
Yeah, it is definitely an opportunity. Zhao over on the Ashe is also very interesting. It's getting in a very weird place right now, and Discord Kitten is going to quickly get to work once again this round. This fight looks like it's going to be quickly over with once again. HMS Sabre going to go back out, but they're going to keep trying to run in. Drop the guns. Want to try to get a little bit more, and Xiao going to get chased out entirely. Roko deleted, and now they just got to go and get a touch on this point.
Yeah, fairly easy first fight for Drop the Guns. I mean, Discord Kitten just getting an early pick, and once you get that, it's really hard. Unless we have Xiao now making the change over to Soder, trying to match Discord Kitten, and yeah, Fear itself, Discord Kitten are just putting the team on their back right now.
Pretty much, yeah. This is what you want to do. This is what you were fearing when
Another.
it came. When it comes to a DPS situation, this is what you fear. That's why I was talking about the Sojourn and Reaper earlier on. They have such carry potential in these situations as Hiccup is going to slowly making his way back into the fight. As Drop the Guns are not really going to let up, and to be fair, they have no reason to let up. They have no reason to give them any space to work with.
Yeah, and Reaper can be so dangerous in these situations just from the bubbles that enable them to go deeper. And oh my gosh, Discord Kitten, too? Maybe a third?
Gravy looking for a third potentially? No, gets barely back into the spawn, but I think Roko and Hiccup might not be long for the world, able to heal their way out. But Sabre, it can't even really get the starting gate, and Ultimates aren't even a factor for them right now.
Yeah, Drop the Guns is just absolutely in the driver's seat. We're not seeing these early picks that HMS Sabre was getting before. In fact, they're having trouble getting close enough for Roko to hit the hooks, but now Roko's like, nah, I'm down with the Roadhog. We're running down on Ryan.
We did see that Ryan represented earlier, and here
Fear!
Hiccup again goes down, and now you're coming up to 70%. Fear itself is going to have the ult online. Pin goes through, not gonna find anything. It's pretty much gonna try to solo out the Ryan, and guess what? It works out. Fear itself is gonna be able to back around the corner, stay safe, and Sabre, it can't figure it out right now. And unfortunately, Hiccup's gonna get a late death here. A touch at this point, I think, may even be out of the question.
Yeah, I think we might need to check Fear's PC. There's clearly some shenanigans going on right now. But now there is double support for HMS Sabre. They have the ability to go in, but this grab might just prevent them from even touching.
Yeah, and the grab, with tidal away everything, they're stunned away. Certified CGL Ajax to end up the map. And that's 100-0 to close things out as Drop the Guns, proving why they got here, proving why they are one of the strongest teams in this division.
Yeah, that is a statement first map from them. There was definitely some back and forth on the first point, but that second point, it didn't even feel like it was challenging them. They were firing all cylinders, always going first with their ultimates, never setting up in a situation where it felt like Sabre was able to get the momentum they need. And this DPS line is doing absolutely amazing things for the team. And additionally, their tank line is giving them all the bubbles they need to make those aggressive plays and make those statements.
100% is in this situation. You saw what both these traders were able to pull off. Hiccup and Fear itself very early on were getting a lot of these opening picks, but that quickly came from a two-person debate to a one-person debate as Fear itself continued with that momentum, continued pulling that off. Would pretty much drop in at the beginning of any engagement and would find somebody early on to the point where HMS Sabre weren't even really able to kind of bounce back in that fight or really even get a fight started in a couple of occasions. And Fear itself deciding, you know what, Ryan? Roko, particularly, I don't like you. Hits him with a solo ult, and I mean, they just threw everything in the kitchen sink on this final fight because, to be fair, they had no reason not to.
Yeah, no, it was a statement the entire time, and I guess now if you're Sabre, like, it felt like you had some things that were working. You know, the Roadhog stuff was working pretty early on, and then after the team kind of got better about it was essentially whenever Drop the Guns got control of the map and they were able to kind of like hold from a distance their angles, they really struggled to get close to them. The combination of the DPS being able to pick someone early, or Fear itself just kind of lurking in the shadows to the side and getting an early pick and just bubbling this DPS. Reaper is scary when bubbled. That's you take away one of the things Reaper struggles with most, that's range, and you get him to be up in your face just because he has a bubble of protection to get there. That's dangerous. And Roadhog just sucks up the damage. So if you're not getting those hook kills, it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, and we saw Roko earlier on was able to connect with a lot of those hooks, but it was a really quick adjustment for FBDM. Throughout that entire exchange, the first few fights, it was rough on the bubbles to get them to the right target in time, but Consistency kept coming through. He kept hitting them at the perfect times, tanking a lot of that damage as well with those bubbles, and it just works out beautifully. And that's what's really, I think, honestly frustrating about the Reaper Zarya combo. You can try to shoot the Reaper and burst them down, but then you give Zarya the beam charge. It's like you can avoid it completely, and it's like you're letting the Reaper have free range. There's no true winning in that situation. You have to make that split-second decision whether or not you've got to engage. But now it kind of begs the question as to where they're going to take us in this map, and of course, where the bans are going to go in this situation, because I think it's going to be interesting. I think some of them are pretty straightforward, but the map is going to determine some of those bans' viability.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like... right now, I feel like if you're HMS Sabre, just based on what I've seen in this previous one, I kind of feel like maybe you want to take it to maybe a Flashpoint map, essentially. I feel like, based on how it was being played before, it almost feels like you prefer a map where it's not just a straight attack and defense type situation right now. Where they're able to hold those angles and get those like early picks on you constantly, and where things are a little more fluid maybe you might want. And I feel like something like Flashpoint could do that for you. It might take away some of the advantage they were having. But at the same time, also, I think like something else Drop the Guns really did well was their momentum. And momentum really snowballs in those types of maps as well. So, TLDR, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, welcome to the world of Overwatch. Nobody knows what they're talking about, but somebody will eventually be right. But we'll see whether or not HMS Sabre are going to be correct with their map pick going into our second one. It's gonna be Hollywood.
Ooh, okay.
Which is a little bit interesting, but I kind of like this because there are definitely some points of this map where the Zarya Reaper isn't quite as effective. But at the same time, there are definitely ways to make it effective. You get to second point, I think you might enter a situation where they might try to play very dominantly for the high ground, to the point where, listen, if I'm on a ranked game and I see a Zarya and a Reaper on the high ground, I am not touching that high ground. That high ground does not exist to me. It's not happening. So there's definitely points where it is strong, but I don't think it's quite as strong as it can be on a map like Busan.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I do think there's some advantage there. Actually, wait, look, so we do have Drop the Guns banning first here, which means Sabre deferred their first ban. Do you like that idea?
I don't know, at the end of the day. Because, to be fair, Drop the Guns banning first means that Sabre knows exactly what they want to do here. And to be fair, it could be as simple as saying, hey, we think we still want to run the Zarya. If you ban the Reaper, we'll play Venture. So let's just protect Zarya by getting rid of, like, Roadhog or Sigma or any tank, honestly, and just giving them that situation. Or maybe it's simply, it's almost not even a situation of like, hey, we don't want to deal with this thing because that wasn't really a factor in that first map, but it's going to be the Diva taken care of, and this feels like just protecting Zarya. Yeah, it's just protecting Zarya. It's got to be.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, either Zarya or Ball, or it's some kind of protect ban. I don't think, to be fair, I don't actually know what tanks the preference of Sabre is. It looks like listing down tank-wise, it lists Hazard Roadhog as their primary tank stuff. It looks like they prefer, but it looks like that's no, sorry, they do play some Diva as well. So maybe it actually is, because Diva can be really strong on this map as well. But I think you are right that it probably leans the direction of being more protect ban. But now if you're Sabre, I mean, knowing that they probably want to do more of the same thing, I mean, it feels like both Reaper and Sojourn are really kind of affecting your team a good bit, to be honest.
Yeah,
it might be worth removing one of them.
You had to debate which one, though, because to be fair, you got to think of what map type might come after this, where it's like, hey, maybe there's more area for Sojourn to work around here as opposed to Reaper. But to be fair, if we go to something like a Flashpoint or a push afterwards, I'm more scared of the Reaper. Yeah. And to be fair, neither choice is inherently wrong. Well, maybe one of them will. We won't know right now, but honestly, either one of those is the correct choice because, I mean, we saw what Discord Kitten was able to do on the Sojourn, and I wouldn't want to go through 2 maps of that. Yeah, Soja is very, very strong on this map, and I will say the one thing about this, though, is there is alternatives to Soja kind of fill the same role. You can play the Ashe as a similar aspect. You can run around the cast and play like a little more aggro with, say, like the Reaper as well with your team. So I'll be curious to see how much the Soja ban actually affects things, but it is a very mobile character that Discord Kitten was doing very good on, so I can understand why they would not want that in the lineup. In which you do have a sub with playback coming in on the DPS for HMS Sabre. Yeah, Hiccup previously playing that Reaper last map, and this kind of just goes around the idea of, hey, they might be trying to disconnect from the Reaper entirely. There's a chance where maybe that Ashe actually does come back out. Maybe it's not a facade. We saw it briefly before, but on a map like Hollywood, I think it's a more effective pick. There's a lot more high ground to be able to play around and dominate and hold on to. So I'm curious what the situation is going to be here. And obviously, part of it also comes down to who is attacking, who's defending first. And from the look at where we're looking at the lobby, little spoilers, ladies and gentlemen, HMS Sabre, yeah, leaks. We leak things here in the CGL channel. But Sabre looks like they are going to be on the attack first, which is going to be very interesting because now they have an opportunity to correct what went wrong in that first map, and that correction was, well, being able to fight and take over the point.
Yeah, that is true, and it looks like we are about to get into our map here pretty shortly. And with HMS Sabre attacking first, I don't know, I'm usually a person that I prefer attacking first on a lot of these maps, trying to kind of like set that point, set that line in the sand to, you know, either you attack and full cap with a bunch of time and you're like, the other team's like, oh shoot, they capped the entire thing, or at the very least, you know, we know exactly what we have to defend against, so we can set like the way we defend based on that information.
100%. I've always liked being on the defense a lot first. I don't know why. I like the aspect of kind of basically knowing what my goalpost is. Like, how far do we have to push to take this one away? But, you know, it's all preference at the end of the day. Drop the guns, though. Currently repping the Winston. Winston back into play. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Rocco, though, showing the exact same thing. And nothing about this is too surprising. Discord Kitten is over on the Hanzo. We talked about the Hanzo having some viability. It could be a big shield breaker and honestly just a tank breaker in general. So that Winston is going to struggle if they dive in, because Discord Kitten is pretty much going to save those cooldowns, specifically for dives like that.
Yeah, it is. I am very curious to see how much this Widow does for them, because I think running into with the Sim, Winston, and Hanzo will be a little difficult for the Widow. If they can get an early pick and get some space, maybe on the second or something like that, it could be really good. But FPGM really has a lot of opportunity to make it difficult for them to like touch into that space. And oh, play with a little fire there, Ray.
Yeah, you gotta be a little bit careful. You don't want to deal with the Widowmaker. Xiao had a couple of nice shots in that first map. But for the time being, nobody has any reason to really peek unless your name is, you know, FPGM, because at that point, you can just gather a bunch of charge. That's what you literally see Jaden doing right now. She's just gathering charge from him taking damage. So, the first dive eventually comes through. Rocco gonna go for the hiker. Discord Kitten immediately. Holy crap, Kiriko is gone. I was gonna say, bursted out that shield, so they lose all the protection, and the first fight is over just like that. Xiao, though, nice exit frag.
Yeah, it does give them a potential return opportunity as long as they don't lose anyone more coming back in here. They should have the advantage in numbers. Let it go in early. And no, Hanzo's a large portion of their damage.
Yeah, 100%. And now, heading into this next fight, you're looking for another pick, but it's Rokuro who gets rid of Jaden early on.
Okay.
Bunch that healing taken away, so now it's Try sole healer for the squad, and right now, if I'm HMS Sabre, I'm going all out on the aggression, but that's the problem of when you do have the Widowmaker. The Widowmaker can't go in super deep with the rest of the team, so now they only have Playback to go in there and get a lot of these picks, and for the time being, they seem to be kind of struggling to finish out some of these kills as the turret almost gets them.
And now the Widow has a little bit more space. They have an opportunity to kind of free fire at this range here, and I don't really know if anybody can get on them right now to make that a problem. Discord Kitten going over to the cast. And taking down Fear. Fear is conquered.
Yep, now the sight's online. Rocco is extremely low, though. He's gonna need some care. He's eventually going to get it as Rokuro close to going down. Playback has a pulse from that could close out this whole thing. Throws it out into Narnia. Doesn't catch on any targets, but Ray still ends up getting taken down, and this could be desperation time. As unfortunately, 3 members to try to make it back. Jaden does manage to take care of one. Discord getting pushed away, and it looks like it should be a matter of time. As yeah, they do need to just cap this point, as I think it's literally just Jaden hanging around. That should be our last touch.
It should be, and I'm liking this side of life from HMS right now. Out getting these early picks, punishing a little bit of people to try to overpeak them, and they honestly, to be 4 minutes is not too bad for second point. You usually need that for second.
You 100% do in this situation. And now 4 minutes on the clock. Decent amount to work with here. High ground might be the name of the game, but to be honest, you don't really have to prioritize the high ground much within your situation. As Xiao goes for the hook. Doesn't quite get it, but honestly, it's what I'm saying, you don't need to. You are able to kind of hang around on this point and get a bunch of ultimates out of Drop the Guns. And hey, Deadeye is one of them, and Roko is going to pop this one early, pushing
Careful,
people
Roko.
around. Yeah, did drop them down, but nobody's really there to follow up either, so it's kind of just a blank one-for-one trade that eventually, I was going to say Drop the Guns are going to win, is they're going to activate Primal as well. Pretty much going to try to solo Zhao. It's kind of working out, it eventually will. And now Drop the Guns are able to take a reset once again, as it's going to be a 4-3 all trade going here, but I think the most important, honestly, on this entire board is probably going to be the Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, if they're able to force a fight on the point or the high ground, we do have Simwall coming out though. Just to find. Oh my god, Playback dead!
Yeah, a little deletion. Discord gets rid of 2. Nothing is going to save them, but there is a little bit of a bright spot. You hold on to all 3 of those ultimates. You're going to have sights for this fight, so no shenanigans going to be had here, and they'll be used early.
Yeah, Playback moving over to the Venture now. They are done with the Tracer. Venture a little bit more survival sometimes in Tracer in these 1v1s, especially against Symmetra, where you're able to kind of push, drill dash them out of their TP. But no, Jaden coming in.
That is a bit of a jump scare if I've ever seen one. Tidal Wave is out there, Rokuro. It's a tiny bit of value, but Ray ends up having to pull the beat out for this fight just to be able to kind of sustain everybody, keep everybody going. With Zhao gone, you're able to get a little bit of that momentum back. But once again, Sabre are putting their backs up against the wall. Playback is trying to get rid of Ray, gets them super low. Unfortunately, the stun's there to keep him alive, and they'll be able to take another reset.
And not respecting the 1v1. Taking down Playback in that fight. And Zhao swapping for the cast, which honestly, I think was probably needed at this point. This choke's kind of been stuffed for a while. It's so hard to make the Widow work when you have a Winston jumping on you, a Sim TPing to you, and you don't really have access to that high ground. So I think it was a good swap.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic swap. But either way, Deadeye is online. Roko goes in, and you see them trying to delete that bubble away as soon as possible as the Deadeye is there. Nobody to really take out as, well, Roko.
Oh, Roko did not know.
Nah, it just a weird situation to be in right now, and for Playback, it's the same situation. Digital Kitten gets rid of another, hoping to get rid of another with Roku, which is not going to be able to get out of there alive, taking the reset, and now with a minute 20 on the clock, Drop the Guns are basically just hard holding down the choke, and it's worked brilliantly the past 3 minutes.
It has been working so well, and it feels like Discord Kitten's kind of just being able to walk around completely free. Like, they're wearing a little bit of a cloak of invisibility right now, and in that last fight we saw a high noon, they didn't know, walked through the enemy team, they didn't know. Playback also going to the Reaper, trying to be able to force more of these resources out of this Winston, but they have the Primal now, so this could even be a little more difficult. They're just going to go in with it.
Yeah, and just going to Primal Rage. Roko goes down early. Playback's in a rough situation, and Roko is also going to pop it, which I don't know how much I like. If you can get one pick out of it, that's cool. That's awesome. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the case, as they'll be able to get back in the spawn room.
They do make it in, but going into this last fight is going to be so dangerous. Drop the Guns having both support ults and Symbol. These are ultimates designed to fight on the point. They're like, those are ults that say, come at us, and what are you going to do about it?
Hard to do much about it in the situation. Maybe try to take your time and work up to something, because you don't necessarily have to take a fight right now. But, well, honestly, I might be ducking out of this fight right here and now, and you're trying to take a reset. And yeah, they're going to go all in. Want to find the stun. Gets rid of one. Roko taking down Zhao, and Roko not far behind. Beat available. Everything is being thrown in the kitchen sink. You will get one more touch from Playback, though. Now you need to go with that rush with 3 people as Roko gets rid of one. Playback needs to find something here, though, to bring this one back. And getting rid of FBGM will definitely get them closer, but the team is being charged up more and more, trying to burn them away. But Playback and Zhao pull it back. Keep the dream alive for now.
Yeah, and I think Sabre was able to at least kite enough, and maybe the Drop Guns, like you said, went a little bit too early, and oh my goodness.
No, dude.
They had it. They won the fight they shouldn't have won. Oh no.
They won the fight they shouldn't have won. It's like the guy that goes and bets it all on 17 on roulette, gets it, and then he put it all back down on 17. Why did you do this? I don't have words.
I was about to start just going and talk about, like, you know, how proud I was of them, how much they actually have a decent chance now, because now they got through their own alt cycle and they had all the chance to win that fight, but Drop the Guns, again, they played their defense so well, defending for over 4 minutes there on second point, and just never letting them take any space. They constantly went first. They used their ults to build more ults and kept going. They didn't really have to make too much a change in their composition because it just kept working for them, honestly, the entire time. And yeah, Sabre, I mean, the line's been drawn in the sand right now. Sabre pretty much needs to hold up the first point.
Yeah, that is a situation right there. I mean, to be fair, stat line wise, I mean, everything we've seen, Roko getting in a ton of damage is not dying a whole lot either. That's kind of been one of the few bright spots we have seen from this Sabre squad, but again, you see the consistency of the DPS line from Fear itself and Discord Kitten. That Symmetra worked out brilliantly on that hold, and now HMS Sabre's backs are against the wall because essentially they can afford to lose one singular fight. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. I do like some of these changes right from HMS Sabre to be able to hold close. They have a very, they have a very brawly composition. They're like, yeah, you will not pass. We will push so much damage into your Winston that he doesn't want to be here anymore. He'll just go home.
I mean, essentially. But you get into this one, you want to try to hold up for as long as you can and play back. Bit of a rough position. Eventually see Roko take over momentarily, take a bit of that pressure away. And here comes the TP. Here comes... Yeah, and they just mass dive in, and Roko can't do a thing to save their own life. And it's just over. It is done, flat, simple as that. Roko still hanging around with a little bit of care, but it is eventually going to come to an end as want to try to dive out, doesn't do so. And that means Roko might not even get the close spawns. In fact, they're not.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird hold in some aspects, because I thought HMS Sabre was going to try to hold close the choke and kind of like basically make them fight to get in. But it felt like they kind of just allowed them to get in, and I mean, all credit to Drop the Guns. They saw that that space was being offered to them. They took it, and once they took that space, it's so hard to dislodge them.
It's really hard, but now it is everything on the line here. One fight loss means we'll go down to that match point. Someone eventually does have to get here, and I don't know if FVGM should have gotten out of that situation, but it might not matter a whole lot. Everybody's fighting. No one is there to touch. That's another quick one for Drop the Guns. One map away from closing this one out, and if it keeps going the way things are trending, next one might be the last.
Yeah, a very dominant display right now from Drop the Guns. This series is in their hands right now, and if you're HMS Sabre, you need to think where. I mean, I really just feel like they need to up the tempo right now. The tempo and space push and pull that Drop the Guns is doing to them is really just taking over the series. They're not having a chance to really make those mistakes because they're always there in the driver's seat.
Yeah, essentially, and that's what the team wants to try to do. That's what you want to do as almost any team, is be in the driver's seat, control the pace of all of these fights. Never give somebody the opportunity to kind of take their own pace. And you saw it throughout 90% of these fights where Drop the Guns, they went forward, they took initiative with either it was the ult or just the aggression, and they played them out in a way so where they didn't waste a lot of these ultimates. They threw maybe 1, 2 max into a single fight. They never overinvested. They made sure they always had something that Sabre had to worry about.
Yeah, we were very rarely seeing Drop the Guns kind of overinvest in their ultimate, except maybe that final fight there where they went early, used everything, and didn't win the fight, but I mean, even then they kind of got bailed out in an instance.
Yeah, essentially. But again, Drop the Guns are able to make this their brilliant display. Finished with, I think, around 5 minutes on that clock, which is not not an easy thing to see or a common thing to see in any situation in a game like Overwatch. But regardless of that being the case, you can never count somebody out. It's not over till you see that 3 on the 4. So, hey, Rammer, the final question is, before we go to this break, can HMS Sabre bounce back? And I wanted to ask, how do they bounce back? But to be honest, I don't quite have the solution. I think it's a scenario where they have to come together, put the best composition they can, most comfortable thing, run it down, and just try to take some aggression.
Yeah, I think I would lean the direction of what you said, yeah. I think it's less about the composition and more about how you're playing it and being aggressive, taking that initiative. You need someone on a team that basically says, guys, I'm going in, follow me or we're feeding. Essentially. You need someone that's just like, is that person that can bring it up in the comms, just go in and kind of command some presence right now. Because right now, Drop the Guns, they're like I said, they're in the driver's seat. They're bringing the aggression. They're daring HMS to challenge them for this space, and you kind of need to pull up your Uno reverse card and be like, no, you.
It's like a great man once told me, it's not feeding if we all go in together. But with that being the case, we're going to cut it to a quick break. When we come back, we will have the potential conclusion to our Platinum Grand Finals here in the mid-season tournament.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Everybody, welcome back once more to the Platinum Grand Finals here in the mid-season tournament. And so far, while look for a few minutes at the beginning, this could be a back-and-forth affair. Drop the Guns have quickly shut that possibility down. They're up 2-0 in the series. Look phenomenal on both Busan and Hollywood. I'm honestly just running it down on these very aggressive compositions, able to kind of use everything extremely effectively, not wasting any cooldowns or ultimates, honestly. And HMS Sabre are struggling to figure out the solution, and Headrammer, unfortunately, the time for them to figure that out is quickly dwindling away.
Yeah, it definitely is. This is, they're on match point now. We are first to 3 for the mid-season tournament grand finals. You know, end of season grand finals will be first to 4, but in this first to 3 moment, this is when you need to start reverse sweeping, and reverse sweeping is hard. Like, not only do you have to win this map, you then have to win the next 2 after that on your opponent's map picks and on your opponent's bans, which is so hard. Especially once you find something that starts working, they're like, oh, we could just ban that out. We could just remove that. And not only that, again, this is the NA versus EU matchup. The servers are swapping after every map. So first map was on NA ping, this last map was on EU ping, and for context, HMS is the EU team. And now we're back to the NA ping for this map. So it's hard to say sometimes how much the ping matters, but I mean, it does have some kind of effect.
No, it always does. It's usually like at least like 100 ping in a lot of different situations, and it can be very difficult to deal with, especially if you are someone that needs to have that immediate thing. If you're a tracer, the difference between 20 ping to 130, it can be a little outstanding, honestly. But with that being the case, this team's got to figure out what they want to do, what route they want to take. And the route they decided to take us down for the third and potential final map, and regardless, is going to be their final map pick of the series. It's going to be going over to Rialto, getting escort done and out of the way here. And again, it's going to be a weird situation because, we'll get to the banning thing in a minute. But Rialto plays a little uniquely, honestly. It feels like there's a lot you can do here. You can play the aggressive brawl types to play really early around the corners, or you can hang back a little bit, pretty much use the whole like square area to play poke compositions to a point where it's like, hey, it's really hard to run anybody down. It can be extremely difficult to do so.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you can get a bunch of angles on people and kind of just, like you said, shoot them across their entire walk up. Even more so when you get the second point and you can just defend on the high ground, just like pew-pew-pewing people as they walk across and be like, oh no, what are you gonna do? And it's just an absolute pain. And I think that's one thing that scares me a little bit, is I feel like the walk-ups have been being punished a lot for HMS Sabre, and there's a lot of points on this map on first and second point where your walk-ups can be punished very hard.
Yeah, it can be heavily punished in a situation like this,
another
but
deferring ban situation from HMS Sabre.
So it's a weird situation, but regardless, we'll see what they want to do. They have banned Tank twice in a row. I gotta be honest, history does tend to repeat itself. It could be a situation where it's like, hey, let's get rid of a random tank just so we can kind of open up our options on tank and not have to worry about anything. Maybe you get rid of the Mauga in the situation. Maybe you get rid of the Wrecking Ball. Who knows? It could be a situation where maybe you want to take away something that, hey, maybe Sabre might resort to this, and it could be difficult to deal with. We see that happen with a few different characters, as Tracer is actually the pick, which I don't think is... It's not what I would have picked here. I think, honestly, they're doing pretty good on Tracer, and I don't think it was getting a lot of value for Sabre.
Yeah, they were in Tracer for a little bit, that first fight situation for a little while, all in Hollywood, with I think it was Playback being in, and that they ended up having to swap over to the Venture for that. Maybe they just don't want to deal with it all. To be fair, it is a map where you can have kind of those flank routes available to you in those situations, or again, it could also just be a situation where let's protect the Reaper, let's protect these other DPS characters we want that have been getting us so much value. I mean, Fear has been so strong on this Reaper the entire map, and Zarya's just out, gone. They're like, okay, fine, we've had enough of this. Zarya's out of here.
They finally get the opportunity, and it is the first thing they do. And honestly, can't say I blame him in the slightest. You don't want to deal with that, especially in some of the rough corners there could be to deal with on Rialto. Those first two corners before you get into the square can be really rough to deal with if you're going against a really tanky comp waiting around the corner. But you go to these other points, and honestly, I think it stays the exact same way. Third point can offer a lot of that hell. Second point, to some degree, near the end parts, can be really difficult to deal with. So I'm really curious what teams want to go with in a situation like this. I think, at least when you're talking about drop the guns, I feel like they don't need to stray away from what they have been doing. It's been working. You need to just keep going with it, keep making it go at it. But for Sabre, they do have to make adjustments. They are essentially forced to make adjustments and make something happen, and that's going to potentially include drastic changes.
It is true. I'm very curious to see how much the Zarya ban affects things for them. I mean, we've had Drop the Guns DPS being able to play so aggressively throughout the entire series because they have the advantage of just having that bubble available to them, whether that be the Zarya bubble, or even though it's just like the Winston bubble, as the Winston kind of goes in, kind of takes that space. Maybe we see the Winston play come back in and they just go that route instead of keep doing it. But no, Zarya definitely does force them to change what's been working for them.
Yeah, essentially. We'll see what the scenario is going to be here pretty soon. But it's going to be weird, because once again, if things stay the way that they are with what we see on the screen, Drop the Guns will be the ones attacking first this time. Which, obviously, you're gunning for that map completion. You're hoping to have some time on that clock as well. But this is where it's going to be really interesting as... Listen, when I was talking earlier about HMS Sabre, they need to make some drastic moves. They have definitely made some drastic moves. So, specifically, Hiccup has come back in for DPS. Playback has come back in, originally was on DPS, now is over in the support situation, and Skirmoch is now back in, or actually in for the first time, over on the tank instead of support. So definitely a lot of changes. TLDR, lots of changes.
Yeah, it does seem like it does open up some potential different tank options for them. I know Skirmoch plays, they play D.Va, they play Rhea, they play Zarya. It could be a situation where, I mean, D.Va is very strong on Rialto. I could see a situation where Ram also adds a bit more survivability to what they're doing. And Ram could potentially sometimes be interesting into something like into Winston, where you throw down the slow that pulls them down, they can't jump away, you burn them with, like, say, like a Reaper or something like that, and then the Winston gets very sad. There's a few different ways I could play it, but I think maybe adding, if Skirmoch, they might also just be one of those people that is more aggressive, and that could also just be what the team needs.
Yeah, that could be what it is. I mean, we've had situations where so many teams decide, hey, things aren't working, we're not being aggressive enough, let's bring in this other person that we know is going to be aggressive, the person that is sitting on the sidelines like, hey guys, let's do this, let's follow up, let's do this. You bring that energy in, and it can make a big difference for any squad. But again, Drop the Guns are the ones on the attack end. We are going to see the D.Va on display to get things started. Zhao back over on the Ashe had a couple of moments before on that first map with San, but now what's most interesting, honestly, is playback over on the Mercy. And Mercy, to be fair, at this level is extremely viable. You sit back with either Hiccup or Zhao, you're able to help them out, and if both of them can start getting a lot of these picks and find a lot of value, you just want to amplify that to the biggest extent. Yeah,
it does put a lot of pressure, like you said, on Zhao, though, just to get the value of two people with the Ashe. And if you have it can be hard. If you have a Winston jumping on you, or even just a Widow here peeking an angle, Widow peeking angles, it's hard to push an Ashe without being taken out.
That could be very difficult, but we'll see what the scenario is as Discord Kitten goes for that shot, doesn't get it, is going to head over and swap characters back to ye old Reaper, and is going to try to take her something. Fear itself was the one who was over on the Reaper originally, but now Discord Kitten takes it over.
They do. I mean, Discord Kitten has been so strong on all of the DPS they've played so far today, so I mean, I would like to believe they can play the Reaper to a similar level. We have HMS Sabre sitting back a little further. Oh my god, taken down, moved out by the D.Va, and you gotta be careful though.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they're up there entirely alone. That's the biggest issue. Ray might burn away. Ray does burn away. Oh, that's unfortunate. But this fight is not over yet. This means FBGM has to play a little bit careful. It has to wait for Jaden to kind of get him healed up. But that card is still schmoving and grooving right now.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of space to the point which there's really only going to be one. Oh, okay, a little scary there for the Spectre pops the entire way. But yeah, no, they're getting close. Jaden also getting dangerously close to that nano already, which, I mean, we can pretty much assume it's going to go on FPGF.
Hiccup, you're in a place. Unfortunate situation, but it's still winnable. Again, you just got to throw everything into your D.Va here to try to hold on to the point, but that means touching the point, and that does not happen.
Oh, it looks like they were trying to, like, take a most optimal last-second pick, but you have to touch the point. You have to force them to invest and at least do something.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's getting out of this situation. You have just Zhao remaining, and it's going to be a late death. In fact, Hiccup's there. Guess we're Discord Kitten, but honestly, if I'm Ray, I might be running this down, but nope. Hiccup's going to get out of there. Gotta see if anybody's going to want to swap here, but to be fair, ultimates are becoming a factor very heavily as Discord Kitten makes a swap over to that Genji.
Yeah, I mean, with what they're running right now, and realizing, like, the Ashe and Mercy's in play, you can take that as an opportunity to go super aggressive on Genji with Winston, and while the Sim TP's in the backline. Heck, you could nanny your Genji in, like, bare, with not even needed on the Winston, and essentially just one-shot someone out. Scammer's going down really low on the...
yeah, you might have to throw that nano in, honestly, and try to sustain off of that, but even Rokuro is super low, gets taken care of. No one can go even touch this card anymore. They have to back off. They have to go play for third, and that's 5.5 minutes on the clock. Discord Kitten gets rid of 2 more. Playback might not be long for the world. TP in to go a little more aggressive, maybe try to knock them out of the mech, but nope. We'll be able to survive a little while longer, but for Drop the Guns, this is going to plan, right?
Yeah, I think right now if you're HMS Sabre, you need to probably swap the Mercy to something that can just help peel for your team a bit more. Maybe either like a Brig type option or even a Lucio. I feel like the Mercy experiment to no fault of the Mercy itself, is they're kind of just being run over right now.
Yeah, now the dive into the back line. Nano is thrown in on both sides. Beat is able from Ray. And it's, well, to say it might not be needed, it's definitely not going to be used, as the Nano is actually working out brilliantly. Rokuro's brought back into the fight. Able to get rid of 2, and FBGM, you know, I know we had one C9 earlier, but I don't think you're pulling this one off, as eventually bodies are going to be forced out. Jump available, going to be able to escape with their life, but just barely.
Yeah, and the point was moving that entire time too, so now we're at 4.5 minutes already at turning that corner. And look at the ultimate they have on the field right now. They have Beat, they have Blade, they have Primal. They could just honestly probably dump the ult and win.
Honestly, real possibility. And yeah, there it goes. Blade is active. Doesn't have a dash, but it's not really going to matter. They get rid of 1. Zhao gets 1 to their credit, but no man's land is just got to use the bomb on the cart. Try to see if maybe you can survive and live a little while longer. And in fact, that's going to be the case, but it's going to get them an extra 3 seconds of cart stalling. And unfortunately, it doesn't spend all that time dying even on the cart.
Yeah, we do have the swap now. Get a little good sleep to keep them alive, but oh my god, the nade!
That is a little massive, not gonna lie. You get rid of Discord Kitten, and now you have to be able to sustain. You gotta get 1 more touch. You got a Ramatra coming back, has a ton of sustain and staying power, just has to remain alive. Needs to use these cooldowns now. You have no reason not to hold on to them. Unfortunately, the Anti's gonna stop that healing. It's a matter of time, so 3:24 on the clock. That's what we'll be honest, and look, that is a lot of time to work with on Rialto. Rialto is not the easiest map in the world to finish. But they come in here, they do it with a ton of time on the clock. Credit to Sabre for winning a couple of these fights, for holding on. But it's moments like these right here where you go and you get that pick, but you get your Diva caught out. And once you lose your tank early, remember, it's really tough to re-engage in those situations.
It is, especially when you're having to just stand on point and stop it from moving. Playing into a Symmetra where you can't defense matrix. You know, if you're being shot by some kind of hit scan, you just, you know, you throw up to DDM, stall a lot of time, teams come back, and then they shoot you full of heals. But especially getting fully charged up, this is scary.
It can be very scary. But either way, now it is Sabre's last opportunity here. They need to simply finish the map. Doesn't have to be with time necessarily, but does have to finish the map. You look at some of these quick little stat lines. I mean, Jaden, again, she doesn't die. It just doesn't happen. Jaden's in the game. Jaden does not die. But regardless, going into this, I mean, you just have to throw something in the kitchen sink at this. Something that you haven't tried before, because you simply have to. You have no alternative left, Headrunner.
Mm-hmm. You need to go out. We're seeing a little bit of the Ramatra teased. I would be open to seeing some more of this Ramatra play right now. Zhao going over the Sojourn, and I do feel like we should stop the Mercy experiment, though.
Yeah, the experiment probably should have stopped about, like 4.5 minutes ago, but we are here. Gonna try to make it happen. And to be fair, if Zhao, now over on the Sojourn, can find a little bit of value, you never know. But the problem is, you're going to Discord Kitten, who's on that Widowmaker, who has the ability to get out really quickly in these situations. You can already see, has to hide away, has to be very careful, because to be fair, Discord Kitten could get their head taken off by Zhao at any moment. Yeah,
you gotta be very careful. Widow forces you to respect them right now. So it's getting a little bit low already. Ray's teasing them over here on the right. Just be like, yes, come on me. I'll boop you. I'll do it.
Yeah, and now you see that soft dive over the high ground. Playback gets taken care of, and now Jaden wants to get in on the action a little bit, looking for the separation, and gets booped off into the... Oh, that is not a fun situation, as Rokuro doesn't get out in time with that teleportation, and now... I mean, this is just a repeat of what we saw back in Busan.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. We see a few swaps right now with Zhao over to the Reaper as well, trying to be able to put a little bit more pressure on the Winston, forcing the bubbles out earlier, forcing them to back out earlier. But the drop-down supports have been very, very good at making sure their Winston has the healing they need. And FPGM, to their own credit, also has been ensuring that they've been playing their life. We're not really seeing them die early too much, but Ray playing with fire a little too much and getting caught out.
Yeah, and you're able to recover your Diva as well. You gotta be careful though, Discord Kitten is literally on 1 health right now, but it might not matter a whole lot when Zhao goes down. And finally, Discord Kitten is caught out, should probably be killed, but actually is still alive and got the full health.
Alright, and Scar's being belted by the beams.
And then the Mercy pistol.
Yeah, the Mercy play. Never mind, take it back. Mercy's good. Keep it.
This is how you win. Here's what you do. Listen, you need to go and swap to the Ana. You need to just give the Nano to the Mercy. Go Valkyrie. Go all out. That's how you win this game.
That'll be my MVP right there.
Oh, will not be the case though, since gonna be able to remech at the very least, so can set up for another fight pretty quickly.
And then, well, we do have a lot of ults now coming on the field for each team. Discord couldn't come back on the Torbjorn instead of the Widowmaker, and they really just want to play, I'm staying here and we're not moving.
I mean, to be fair, that's what they have been trying to do this whole time, and Torbjorn is a little bit of a better character for it, but here comes that dragon sent down center, and gets hit with the hammer! You can't do him dirty as FVGM is going to move in, going to try to find the res. In fact, does get it on the Rokuro, so double healing is back into effect. Discord getting forced to have to get into the fight, try to find one, but basically goes into the fire and flames as we'll get that first genuine fight win here online for HMS Sabre. Nice stall from Ray, though. Keep this here a little while longer. Now, all they have left to work with is a bomb, and it gets to the rush, and I gotta be honest, I feel like it has to be this fight right here where it happens.
Yeah, it does. I think this is coming in the final fight here. Oh, good early pick. That Simwall was going to be a major problem. There's still a lot of ults in the field for Drop the Guns, but more of that aggression here. This is a good place where you could actually decide to rush than bomb.
Yeah, and you're going to see right now, BGM just wants to be able to hold on to this as long as they possibly can. Keep holding this area. Bomb is thrown into the back line. Everyone's separated. A shadow would look really pretty right now. Unfortunately, it's not quite there, but one has already gotten rid of. Torb trying to let it loose right now. Everyone is getting taken out of one by one. And hey, your single bright side is everybody dies quickly. There is enough time for one more retouch, potentially.
There's no time for one more retouch, but Drop the Guns has the beat right now. There's nothing on the field for HMS Sabre. If someone needs to make a hero play on Sabre if they want to win this, and FPGM is trying to hold the line.
And there's one final TP. It's not happening. No one there is fast enough. Everyone's running to get there. It's not gonna happen though. Drop the Guns, they'll win the mid-season tournament, dominant 3-0 fashion. Looking like the best team in the Platinum division right now, and at this point, there's no evidence to say elsewise.
Yeah, I mean, an absolute dominant win throughout the entire bracket, honestly. I mean, we saw this team has not dropped a map so far in the regular season, and when you go into the bracket, they also haven't dropped a map here either. I mean, it is kind of onus on everyone else to step it up and figure out how they want to stop this team. But nobody has figured out that solution yet.
They just never did, unfortunately. And definitely there were times where they tried. They went at it, and they found a little bit of success. Unfortunately, it was never repeat succession, essentially. And again, right there, certified CGL Ajax early on. Rough situation for them, but at the end of the day, this is a learning experience for Sabre. They get a situation where they're able to go play in the Grand Finals, play against Drop the Guns, and they're going to be able to learn from their experience. And hail, maybe their match here in a week or two is going to look a little bit differently when they rematch against each other. Maybe they'll be able to learn a little more, and we'll be able to adjust differently. Because at the end of the day, it's Overwatch. You never know what's going to be strong and when, and sometimes it can go in your favor, and sometimes you just happen to learn enough to say, hey, we found the solution to beating this team. It's this. Let's practice this the entire week and just run it down on them.
Yeah, it's all about who performs on the day, and Drop the Guns showed up and performed on every single role today. Honestly, I'm still thinking right now who I would determine my MVP to be, because I think it's a hard contest between so many people on this team.
It is really difficult to give it to one definitive person, because everyone really did do their job. And do we do actually MVPs for finals? You gotta remind me.
We can do MVP, yeah.
We can do MVP, okay. I mean, just from everything I've seen, if you're looking at a level of consistency, having great use out of these ultimates, someone who didn't die very much, someone who was very effective in the fights, honestly, I would shout out Jaden in this situation. Low-key, didn't die in these... Hell, I think had one map where she didn't die at all. I think the third map, I think maybe died once in that whole exchange. But just had such a level of consistency where it's like some other people maybe had their bad moments, but Jaden, I don't think there was ever a time where she looked weak at all.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't picture a time where I saw Jaden die in a place I didn't feel like was like, I guess for lack of a better term, a justified death, essentially.
Yeah.
It felt like they made great choices throughout the entire throughout the entire series, and I'm down before that.
Hey, we'd love to see it. There we go. There's the MVP. You win 3 pats on the head, certified by Head Rammer. They'll be in the mail in 4 to 6 business weeks. But regardless, with that being the case, again, congratulations to Drop the Guns winning the midseason tournament, and for HMS Sabre, obviously hoping the best for them for the rest of the season. But Head Rammer, we got plenty more to talk about here because we are going to take some time, get a quick interview set up here with one of the winning members of Drop the Guns. So we'll take a quick minute. We'll be right back with that fantastic interview.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love.
Everybody, welcome back with the conclusion of our matchup here in the midseason tournament for NA Platinum, and it comes down to a dominant 3-0 victory here. Drop the Guns able to take a massive win here, remain the most dominant team within this division. And joining us here today for this lovely interview, not just one but 2 here, we have FBGM and Local joining us. And I mean, first and foremost, congratulations on a honestly dominant win to finish out the first half of the season.
Thank you.
Yeah, and obviously going into this game, I mean, just in general, what was the mindset going into this game against the team that, from what I managed to see, you guys hadn't had the opportunity to go in and face it? I think it might have been the only team you hadn't had the opportunity to go in and face yet.
There was some difficulties because this is probably one of our least scouted teams in terms of knowledge, because we just haven't seen as many of their games as the other teams. And so playing them like so late in the season, not having played them before, we just kind of had to go in with playing what we were comfortable on, and kind of just playing to our strengths, just all around. FB has been very strong in tank, and he's managed to look very good. So we've kind of just played around our tank, and he looks like a really strong player, especially when he's not feeding. And so we just kind of did what we could.
On that same note, when you were predicting out for yourself of which opponents you'd be playing in this midseason tournament, did you expect you'd be seeing HMS Sabre in the grand finals?
Yeah.
Maybe not. It was really unexpected, I guess. We kind of knew, at least like the week before midseason, that we probably wouldn't be seeing Cutlass or the Tormenting Tentacles. So it was really down to one of 2, but it was. We thought it was a possibility, but I guess it definitely wasn't the #1 team in our mind. Vicious Silver Squad was, I guess, what we expected. However, it turned out fine either way.
Kind of assumed they were like among the top 2, so I was like, it's kind of a toss-up, really.
Okay.
No, pretty understandable. But, oh, no.
What? Sorry. Yeah, no, my bad.
I saw your lips move the same as me. I'm like, oh, I need to wait. I need to wait for my time.
Yeah, no. And I guess I do have like one more question. One thing I notice a lot about your team is that your team seems, always kind of, I guess, on it to kind of aggressively go first. It seems like there's a pretty good plan about what else you would have to use and when without kind of like over-alting at the same time. Does when your team's scrimming, I guess, does your team have a coach?
Yeah, Snacks. For now at least. But yeah, he's always been on our case about comms especially. We kind of built our team initially around comms first and foremost, and kind of skills always something we can train. So like we just got practice in, got our skills up. But we always understood that comms are always our priority, like plan fighting, like knowing what else we need to use when, we always understand like we should calm our ship first. So like
Is there anybody in particular that leads that comm structure in the game, or is it kind of a little split between everyone?
Everyone really.
Yeah, it's really like who comes up with an idea, and it really seems to be whoever's like on that day. Our team's very good about communicating. Everyone has their own personality, and with that, we are able to kind of come up with different ideas all the time. And sometimes there is like a little bit of, well, you don't have this solid leader, so you might have a little bit clash of ideas, and you might be looking a little uncoordinated. But there are other times where, well, someone just needs to lead, and we always at least have someone, it seems. So it's really important, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely so. But of course, with this being the situation, first half of the season done and dusted, and obviously the goal overall is to go to the playoffs, win the whole thing, the whole shebang, win 4 maps. But let's talk about the little in-between right there, because obviously you guys have 4 regular season games to worry about until then. So from now until we get to those playoffs, what is kind of the goal for this team in terms of whether learning or adjusting, just in general? What's kind of the goal there?
Well, this is Plat Division, so there's always, well, even like at the highest level, there's room for improvement. But especially all the way down here, there's a lot of room for improvement, whether that be individual play or team play. So we're looking to try to scrim against harder teams that are better than us, and try to learn from them and learn from what we do well and see what we do well, and then obviously improve the things that we aren't doing very well, and definitely just reviewing what we need to work on at all times.
Yeah, I'd say like our coordination is probably our strongest assets. Kind of at this point, I feel like we should just start working on like our individual play and our performance. I know for me in particular, like I understand like our team has excellent comms coordination, so I'm just personally trying to get like better as a tank player myself. Like I've been working on the Zarya, I've been working on aim training to improve my aim for Winston, of course, naturally. I've just been trying to improve myself as a player because I feel like our coordination as a whole team is like pretty good at this point.
Yeah, the coordination was definitely noticed throughout the Sabre series. I think it was definitely, I would agree, one of your strongest points.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree there. But with that being the case, obviously, I'm sure y'all still got a lot of time left in the day, so I want to be able to take some time, go celebrate, get something to eat, all that good stuff. But before we let y'all go, if there's anything just you want to say on stream, or if there's anybody you want to thank, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for you to be able to do so.
Definitely shout out CGL Production. You guys do a fantastic job. And then also shout out Jaden for being my comp duo, so jeez.
Based. For me, I probably have to shout out like Max for yelling at me for playing Zarya wrong. So yeah.
And do you feel like this criticism improved the Zarya play?
Yeah.
Charge! What's your charge?
20%.
Yeah, that may have been a conversation we had at one point, but
maybe.
Well, it paid off. You guys got the win with it, so we need more. What's it called? Nax statements.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh, but yeah. Big GGs. With that being the case, again, congratulations on the big win and best of luck with the rest of the season. And hey, enjoy your celebration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, you take care now. There you go, Headrammer.
Yes.
Simple as that. Simple interview. I like it. Still very down to earth, not overconfident. A lot of these teams might come through and they'd be like, hey, yeah, we just won the grand finals 3-0. We're unstoppable. They're like, no, we got plenty to learn. We got plenty to do still. We have to improve a lot as a team still. I love that.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's kind of the mark of a really good team. When you're on top and you're still not I guess complacent. You're not happy with where you are, but like we can do more, we can still improve. It's not like we wanted to be the best in our tier, we wanted to be the best there is, essentially. And try to keep kind of working our way up and going up the tiers throughout their time, and I think that's a really good mindset to have.
No, I think it's a fantastic mindset to have, and with that being the case for this team, obviously there's a lot to look forward to for them, but now the question is there going to be that team that steps up to try to beat the mid-season champions? Obviously there's going to be opportunities with the regular season. Maybe we see that win slip through and we see somebody go through the cracks and maybe be the juggernaut that can go and take them down, but obviously, Headrammer, the whole season doesn't happen in a day. We don't control time, we don't control gravity, we don't control any of that stuff. It's just not going to happen. So, with that
what does happen today?
What does happen today?
Tomorrow, there's 7 grand finals.
Oh.
So we will be attempting to cover as many as we can. But 7's a lot, so we'll see how we do. I think we were able to do a majority of them, but Hippie, our good producer here for this broadcast, he's currently in tears. I'm actually witnessing his not witnessing his crimes, witnessing his eyes as the tears go down his face as he's attempting to schedule all of our broadcast talent when there's 3 games that overlap at the same time.
I'm not jealous of this aspect whatsoever.
Yeah, so we will be broadcasting a live Hippie Cam as he schedules all these broadcasts for everyone. Not actually, but yeah, we'll try to get them all streamed the best we can. If not, we'll see. Maybe we can retroactively stream some replay cards or something like that. But tomorrow's gonna be a busy day. So check out CGL 1, 2, and 3. As we're not even close to done yet.
Yeah. Get ready for the creation of CGL 4 as well. Coming soon to a channel near you. But with that being the case, obviously make sure you keep watching out for these games. Hey, remember, do we have something tonight? I have not double checked, and I don't want to pretend like I have. All right, perfect, great. Well, hey, there's still some really good stuff going on tonight. Face It League has their grand finals happening for North America and South America happening tonight. Should be nice. OWCS, there's plenty of Overwatch to watch. Y'all know that. It's a great weekend. It's full of plenty of action. So make sure you keep going supporting the community, support all the amazing players, coaches, casters, observers, producers, everybody. As long as their name's not Hippie, please celebrate them as much as you possibly can. With that being the case, without any further delay, thank y'all for joining us on this fantastic afternoon. We'll see you next time for some more CGL action. Take care.